Hello and welcome to class again today. So today we're going to be learning how to make oven mitts. Oven mitts. So next time you're in the kitchen, you don't have to look for that. Start looking around for that napkin to take something off the fire or something off your oven. So this is what we're going to be making today. So let's get started. Yeah. So these are the materials we're going to be needing. You need foam and half-inch foam. So I realized that when I made it was quite light. So a 1-inch foam might be too thick. So maybe you might want to double it, or you could use fiber, not the fiber that we use to fill in our throw pillows. But if you ask those guys, the same guys who sell those kind of fiber, ask them for the ones they use in making duvet. That one comes in like a sheet, like this. So you can either use this if you get a half-inch foam that is a bit thicker than this. This is quite soft. So you get either the foam or the fiber. Then I have my fabric. The beautiful thing about this project is that you get to use your scraps of fabric. So if you have worked with fabric, if you have leftover fabric from projects that you've done before now, you can just grab that. So I have a small piece of fabric. I have my paper and my fabric scissors. I have my tape roll. I have matching thread. I have my pins and I have my eraser because I'm going to be drawing the pattern out on paper, and then this is the pattern I used for my oven mitt. So I'm going to show you how I got this. It's just basically you putting your hand over the paper. So let's get started. Let me just grab this and put it around my neck. Yeah, put this aside, and then I grab my paper. Yeah, so I grab my paper and then I place my palm, whichever palm it is you want to use. I use my right. I'm right-handed, so I have to use my left hand to draw. So I place my hand on my paper like so, and then I just give it a bit of room down here. So just go like so and then draw. Make sure that you are giving enough room at the sides, such that by the time you're done sewing, you have enough room to sew for your sewing allowance, and then for my sewing allowance basically. So after I'm done just tracing it out, I'm just going to really define the edges so that I would have a straight line to cut out on. So don't mind that I erased everything again. I just want to be able to draw a straight line. So I want to so yeah. So I have this. I have enough room in between, and then I make sure that this is also curvy enough, like so. And then I grab my paper scissors and I cut it out from the paper. So the most important part is getting this done. When you get this done, all other parts are basically easy. Yeah. Okay. So I just throw this down. So now I have my pattern. You see now that this is even a bit bigger than it. So basically you just walk around with whichever works best. So I'm going to use this wide one, and then I grab my piece of fabric. I don't need so much. So you're going to be cutting 4 pieces of this pattern out on paper. 4 pieces. Cutting 4 pieces because you're going to use 2 each. So 4 pieces per hand. So I'm going to use my pin to hold my pattern onto my fabric, like so. Yeah, and then I just go in and I cut. So you see now that I'm leaving a bit of fabric just outside my pattern, like so. Yeah, so I go on like so, and then I cut so. Yeah, okay, so once that is done, and now I'm going to use this to cut my foam. So I'm just going to I'll put a piece of fabric, just a long piece. This is long enough. It will go around the opening. That is just to meeting the edge. So I'm just going to cut that strip of fabric about 2.5 inches wide. 2.5 inches wide, depending on the length of your, depending on how wide that opening is. I'll just grab my chalk and then just mark my 2.5 piece, 2.5 inch, like so. So once I've done that, I will just cut it out, like so. So this should go round, and then I'm going to fold and we're going to use it to pipe the opening in. So I'm going to get rid of this, and then I grab my foam. Now remember that we cut 4 pieces, so I'm just going to mark the right side. Sorry about that. I'm just going to mark the right side. I'm sorry, the wrong side, so that I don't place them wrongly. Yeah, so just mark the wrong side with my chalk. So I have 4 pieces of that, and then I will grab my foam. I just grab my foam, and then I'm going to be cutting just 2 pieces of my foam, 2 pieces, like so. I just place my pattern over it, and then okay, it's looking like my pin might not really go all the way, so I'm just going to cut out the part that I need so that it's easy for me to manipulate. Yeah, so this is all I need. So I'm going to fold this off, take it away, so hopefully my pin should be able to go into this, like so, and then this also. Yeah, good. So I'm going to cut my foam the size of my pattern. You don't need to add any extra to it. Okay, just follow the pattern that we have used, like so. Okay. Right, so once I have cut out these parts, so that's it. So I remove my pins, take out my pattern, and then grab the pieces that I cut already. Remember, I cut 4 of this. I'm going to place it in between, sandwiched in between, like so, and then this also goes like so. And then I grab my pin. So you might want to use a long pin, because if you use those tiny pins, they might not really work well. So you might want to use a long pin, yeah, just like so. And then you do the same thing here, yeah, okay. And then I place this over it, so my foam is sandwiched in between, like so. So just I'm going to put this down also, and then I will just make stitches across. So I could decide, okay, I could just make just 2 stitches across like that, just to hold it in place, or across. I could just make it straight up like I did this one. You see now that I had vertical lines. I could just do horizontal lines in this one, whichever I would prefer. So I'm going to go to my machine and then stitch across, whichever way, horizontal or vertically, whichever way you want to. You might just want to do like curvy stitches all through. So I've sewn the stitches just straight down, just hold them together. So the next thing I'm going to do now would be to join them together. So I'm going to grab my pins and just use it to hold it at the center, so that just hold this in a few places so it doesn't shift while you're sewing. It's coming together nicely. So trim off all of this threads moving this way, and then I'll just stitch all the way round like so. So I go to my machine and I'll be right back. So I've sewn it round, sewn it all the way around. So I'm going to remove my pins now, and then I also make sure that all the edges were sewn so that I don't have anything sticking out. So I'm going to just trim off any excess at the edges here, just so that it's not too puffy on the inside when we turn it, because I'm going to turn it inside out. So just trim it off, just trim off any excess that's sticking out, just trim off any excess that's peeking through here. Alright, and then I'm going to turn it inside out. Give it a slight push. Just give it a slight push. Give it a slight push. Okay, this is out. So I just need to just push this out slightly, and we have this. Beautiful, right? Very lovely. So the next thing we're going to do now is that strip of fabric that we cut earlier on. We just fold it into two, but before you fold it into two, just fold the edge in just by about half of an inch. Then just like you want to sew your bias onto your fabric. This wasn't cut on bias, but if you want to cut yours on bias, it's fine. So I'm just going to place it on the inside, and then I would sew all the way round, and then end here, and then flip it out when I'm done. So I'm going to grab my machine and then get that done. So I'm done. I've done knitting up the edges, and my oven meat is ready. So I have 2 oven meats. So when next I'm baking, I just go straight for my oven meats, go into the oven, bring out my cake, my meat, or whatever it is I'm baking, and I'm good to go. So I look forward to seeing your oven mitts as soon as you're done with it. So till I come your way again in the next class, happy sewing!